Hello to all physics enthusiasts and those who love physical experiments. Andrei Shetnikov, and today's video. We'll start by looking at this structure, which consists of two wooden parts connected by 5 ropes. And the central short rope pulls the top part up, while the 4 side ropes pull that same top part down. And as a result, it remains in balance. You can even place a vase on the top table. It stands here perfectly. And this type of structure is called tensegrity. The abbreviation in English: tension, integrity, tension, integrity. Among the people who promoted the idea of such structures, perhaps the most well-known is the American architect-inventor Richard Buckminster Fuller. And by the way, he also promoted the idea of geodesic domes. And a molecule is named after him. Fullerene C60, where 60 carbon atoms form a semi-regular polyhedron, with the faces being regular hexagons. Where 60 carbon atoms form a semi-regular polyhedron, with the faces being regular hexagons. The pentagons are something like a soccer ball. A semi-regular polyhedron whose faces are regular hexagons. The pentagons are something like a soccer ball. The first structure I showed you isn't quite kinesiology yet, although it's close to it. And here this principle is realized in its purest form. 3 rods, and their ends are tied with ropes. You can see that the rods don't even touch each other. They hang in space. And here, the principle of tensegrity, according to Fuller, is already realized in its purest form. And this was our entertainment at the Pythagoras Summer School in 2011. It was a glorious time. We went to the forest near the camp, where there was plenty of pine underbrush. We cut down and cleared the necessary number of trunks, and then we started assembling a grand structure, suspending the trunks and tightening the ropes. But the ropes turned out to be too thin and elastic, so tightening them wasn't exactly easy. But in the end, we built this kind of structure. This was our project that we presented to the whole school at its closing. Actually, if you haven't figured it out yet, we wanted to build a dodecahedron like this. Here, there are 10 rods, arranged along the internal diagonals of the dodecahedron. And all the edges of the dodecahedron are made of taut ropes. In general, to build something meaningful and not the simplest thing on your own, you need to prepare a jig. Here it is, made of foam board. And the rods are inserted into the places where they are supposed to be in the future. And now I've tightened it with rope from all sides. So triangles were formed. Well, now for the most interesting part, we need to take it off the jig. And there it is. The structure is holding up. The truth is it got quite warped. Some of the ropes loosened, needing retightening. Now I see the challenge in assembling it. And it didn't turn out quite what I wanted. I now understand how difficult it was to assemble our structure at summer camp using logs and ropes. I wanted to build a proper icosahedron. At summer school, we used logs and ropes, but I saw people using rubber bands instead. Not all edges between vertices can be tightened. Armed with this knowledge, I removed some edges from my structure. At that time, not all the edges between the vertices could even be tightened. And armed with this knowledge, I also removed some of the edges from my structure. It turned out that everything is holding up. And even better, probably those edges, from the very beginning, it shouldn't have been set up. And here are real structures based on the same principle. The pedestrian bridge in Brisbane, Australia, and the 26-meter Needle Tower in Washington, which stands, or rather hangs, and doesn't fall. And before we move on to the finale, I want to remind you that our channel exists thanks to the financial support we receive from physics enthusiasts. So how can this be done? It's written below this video, and we really need your help. Well, in the meantime, I bought some rubber bands and replaced the ropes with rubber bands. It turned out to be quite a flexible structure. It's also a bit crooked, so it's not that easy to put it together neatly. But overall, it's quite interesting. I think you'll find it interesting to do something like this too. And now, thank you very much for your attention.